Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever had one of those questions that just sticks in your brain and you really want to find a real, solid answer? Well, today we're going to dive into the research journey. Think of it as a powerful roadmap that anyone, and I mean anyone, can use to turn that spark of curiosity into real, credible knowledge. Let's get right into it.
We all have questions, right? Big ones, small ones. But in a world that's just flooded with opinions and hot takes, how do we find answers we can actually trust? Turns out there's a formal process for this, one designed to cut through all that noise and get to some reliable conclusions. We call it research, and honestly, it's an incredible tool for anyone who's looking for the truth.
You know, every great journey needs a destination. And in the world of research, that destination is the answer to a very specific question. It all kicks off with defining what's called the research problem. And look, this isn't just step one, it's the absolute foundation for everything. And I mean everything that comes after.
So what in the world is a research problem? Well, simply put, it's the specific issue, the puzzle piece that's missing, or the gap in what we know that you want to figure out. Think of it like putting coordinates into a GPS. Without a clear problem, your research has no direction. You're just wandering. A really well-defined problem tells you exactly where you're going and why it's worth the trip.
Okay, check this out. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We often start with just a huge, vague topic, right? Like online learning. But where do you even begin with that? It's massive. A strong research problem takes that broad idea and sharpens it into something you can actually investigate. Like, does online learning reduce classroom interaction among college students? See that difference? It's night and day. One is a fuzzy cloud, the other is a laser-focused target.
So, we know we need a problem, but what separates a pretty good one from a really great one? Well, it turns out there are a few key ingredients, almost like a checklist, that researchers use to make sure that foundation is rock solid.
A truly great research problem has these four qualities. First, it's got to be clear, so there's absolutely no confusion about what you're asking. Next, it must be specific. You're not trying to solve world hunger here. You're narrowing your focus to something you can actually handle. And this one is crucial. It has to be researchable. That just means you can realistically find and collect data to answer it. And finally, it should be relevant. It needs to address a question that actually matters to somebody. Okay, so let's say you've nailed it. You have that perfect research problem. Now what? You don't just start wandering around hoping to find clues. No way. There is a structured path, a proven roadmap that guides you all the way from that initial question to a credible, solid conclusion. And this roadmap, this tried and true process, has 8 key steps. It's the backbone of pretty much any formal research project you can think of. And here they are, the entire journey in one shot. So you start with your problem, of course. Then you review the literature. That's just a fancy way of saying you see what other smart people have already discovered. From there, you formulate a hypothesis, which is your educated guess, your testable prediction. Then you choose your research design, which is your game plan, your strategy. Only then do you get to the really active part. You collect the data, you analyze it, you interpret what it all means, and finally, you write a report to share what you found with the rest of us. Now I know, 8 steps can feel a little overwhelming, but don't worry, we can actually break this down and group them into 2 main phases. And the first phase, it's all about careful, deliberate planning. It's about mapping out your entire journey before you even take that first step. So here's the bottom line. Steps 1 through 4 are essentially your blueprint. Identifying the problem, reading up on what's already known, making a prediction, and picking your strategy. This is where you lay all the groundwork. A solid plan here makes the rest of the project not just easier, but possible. All right, with our blueprint and our map in hand, we're ready for phase 2. This is where the real journey of discovery begins. Yeah, this is where the action is. You go out and collect your data, maybe through surveys or experiments or observations. Then you analyze it to find patterns. You figure out what those patterns actually mean, and then you share your conclusions. This is how new knowledge gets created. Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's use a topic I think we've all wondered about. What's the impact of social media on how students do in school? Let's see how our process works with this. This shows you perfectly how it works in the real world. So first, you identify the problem. Does social media affect grades? Then you read previous studies. Hey, that's our step 2, the literature review. Then you survey students, that's data collection, step 5. You analyze the data, maybe with some software, and then finally you draw conclusions.
which covers interpreting your results and reporting them. See? It's a bit more streamlined, but the core logic of our 8 steps is all right there. So, after this whirlwind tour from a simple question all the way to a conclusion, what's the big idea here? What's the main thing we should all walk away with? This is it, right here. The big takeaway is that having a structured process is the secret sauce. It's what transforms a simple, I wonder if into, okay, here's the actual evidence that shows. And this isn't just a tool for scientists in white lab coats, it's a powerful framework for thinking that absolutely anyone can use to find real answers to their own important questions. And that's really the power of this whole process. It's a tool for anyone who wants to find answers. So, I'll leave you with this thought. The roadmap is now in your hands. What question will you investigate? Thanks for diving in with me today.